He didn't run, he didn't scream, he didn't beg. He just looked and surrendered, because he knew the whole world depended on that silence. The streets of Jerusalem still bore the dust of the festivities. Passover. Thousands of Jews had traveled there, and now, amidst noisy markets and torchlit stalls, a different kind of tension hung in the air. Something was about to happen. Something that wasn't a celebration. Something that wasn't human. Jesus walked among the shadows. That night, he didn't sleep. While his disciples dozed in Gethsemane, he slowly walked away. Sweat ran down his forehead like drops of blood, as if his own body rejected the invisible weight that was about to fall. It wasn't fear of pain. It was something deeper, separation. The Father would be silent, and that silence was worse than any nail, any scourge, any cross. Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. But he knew the cup would not be snatched away. It would be drained to the last drop. Judas approached with determined steps. The darkness accompanied him like an old friend. At his side, armed soldiers, spears in hand, hardened gazes. They didn't know who they were arresting. They thought they were controlling an agitator. In truth, they were arresting the Creator himself. Judas approached, a kiss. A sign, the most intimate of gestures, used as a knife. Jesus couldn't resist. Peter reacted as always, with fire in his veins. He drew his sword, a quick blow. Malchus's ear fell to the ground. Blood, screams, confusion. But Jesus didn't come for confusion. Put your sword away, Peter. With his hands still free, he bent down, picked up the fallen ear, and returned it to the soldier's face. Healing, even in prison. Love, even in betrayal. They led him away like a criminal, but he walked like a king. The dawn in Jerusalem had never been so long. In the high priest's house, Jesus was pushed, interrogated, and slapped. The words hurled at him were not intended to uncover the truth, but to conceal it. They sought contradictions, not justice. The priests didn't want answers. They wanted a reason to kill. Are you the Christ, the Son of the living God? You said it. That was enough. Blasphemy, they shouted. They tore their clothes as if trying to show indignation. But it was fear. Fear of losing power. Fear of seeing their systems crumble before someone who spoke with authority and washed men's feet. Meanwhile, Peter watched from afar. 3 times he denied him. 3 times he swore he didn't know the one he had promised to follow to the end. And when the rooster crowed, it wasn't just a sound, it was a blow to the soul. Peter ran out and wept. The friend who walked on water now sank in guilt. Jesus was taken to Pilate. Rome didn't care about prophecies. Rome wanted peace. And Pilate, sweating, pressured, looked at that silent man before him and said, I see no guilt in this man. But the crowd screamed. Like thirsty wolves, incited by the leaders, the same ones who days before had sung Hosanna now shouted, Crucify him! Pilate washed his hands, but he didn't cleanse his conscience. Jesus was handed over. The scourges came. The sound of the iron point tearing skin, flesh exposed, bones showing. There was no dignity in that courtyard. There was only brutality. The soldiers laughed. Behold the King of the Jews. They braided a crown, thorns, and they drove it into his head. Blood ran down his face, mixed with sweat, covering his eyes. They handed him a purple cloak. Ironic pats on the shoulder. Spitting. Punches. He remained standing. not because he didn't feel it, but because each blow was part of a much larger plan. They gave him the cross. Not just a piece of wood, it was the symbol of shame, of punishment, of human failure, and he carried it. With each step his body staggered, the ground approached. His strength failed. A man was called to help him, Simon of Cyrene. He took the cross without understanding, but his children would never forget. At the top of the hill, the sound of hammers shattered the sky. Nails, hands, feet. The pain wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. He who never knew sin became sin. And then, suspended between heaven and earth, between thieves and mockery, the hanging king bled for a kingdom that still did not recognize him. The sun was still high, but the light seemed strange, as if the sky itself had begun to mourn prematurely. Jesus was lifted up on the cross. The nails supported his body, but it was love that held him there. Love for people who spat, mocked, betrayed, and fled. Love for a world that didn't want him. He wasn't bound by iron, he was bound by choice. The pain was constant, sharp, excruciating. Breathing was an effort. Each word had to cross the chasm between his crushed chest and dry lips. Still, he spoke. "Father, forgive them. They know not what they do." Beside him, two men, two thieves. Both condemned, both near death. One of them insulted him. The other, broken inside, looked at the crucified one with tearful eyes. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus turned his face with difficulty, and even covered in blood, he smiled. "This very day you will be with me in paradise." The world revolved around that cross. Soldiers were throwing dice for his garments. Pharisees shook their heads and laughed. Some said, "If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." But the miracle was precisely that. He didn't come down. There, in silence, Jesus destroyed sin. Without a sword, without fire, without a shout, only with surrender. At the foot of the cross, a mother watched it all. Mary, the woman who heard the angel, who gave birth to the Son, who watched him grow, teach, heal, and now bleed. Her eyes never wavered. She wept not like a mother who has lost her, but like a mother who understands purpose. The pain was irreversible, but not empty. Beside her, John, the disciple Jesus loved. "Woman, here is your son. John, here is your mother." Even dying, he cared for those who remained. From noon to 3 in the afternoon, shadows took over everything. The sky darkened, as if the entire universe were in mourning. It was as if the sun had closed its eyes. The silence, now, was heavy. Flies buzzed around the crosses. The screams had ceased. Even the soldiers no longer jeered so much. Something invisible was taking over that place. Even the hardened felt it. Jesus looked to the sky, but the sky did not respond. He who had always heard the Father's voice, he who always said, "I and the Father are one." Now the silence, deep, icy, painful. And then, with a hoarse voice cutting through the air, my God, why have you forsaken me?" The weight of the entire world was upon him. All the sins, all the lies, all the guilt, all the pain, on one man. The Lamb of God, being slain before the eyes of those who understood nothing. Jesus was weak, his vision blurred. The blood was barely flowing. "I thirst." They gave him vinegar on a sponge, a cruel gesture. But he no longer sought relief. He wanted to end. And then, with his last strength, with a breath that seemed to come from the Spirit itself, he said, "It is finished." The heavens trembled. The earth shook, the ground cracked, The temple in Jerusalem, where thousands prayed, was shaken. The veil separating the Holy of Holies, that thick, immense veil, torn from top to bottom. The way was open. The price had been paid. And then, bowing his head, Jesus said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." And he breathed his last. The Roman centurion who was watching stood transfixed. He had seen many deaths. He had executed many men. But this was different. This man had the power even to die. He died with dignity, with authority, with purpose. Truly, this was the Son of God. The soldiers hurried to break the legs of the other two crucified men. Death needed to be hastened. Passover was approaching. But when they reached Jesus, they saw that he was already dead. One of them, just to confirm, thrust a spear into his side. From the open wound gushed blood and water, a sign that the heart had already ruptured, a heart broken by love. A man named Joseph of Arimathea asked for the body. He was a member of the Sanhedrin, but righteous, God-fearing. He was waiting for the kingdom of God. He brought a clean shroud and carried Jesus' body reverently. Nicodemus helped him, the same one who had once visited Jesus at night with doubts. Now he carried the body of a dead man with faith. They wrapped him in cloths and perfumes. There was no rush. It was a silent, painful, but dignified burial. There were no crowds, no packed temples, just a few broken hearts trying to honor the last gesture of a man the world had rejected. The tomb was new, hewn from the rock. They rolled a huge stone across the entrance. The soldiers sealed it. No one would enter. No one would leave. The world slept in darkness. Hope had been placed in a grave. But heaven had not yet spoken its last word. The following dawn was the quietest in history. Not even the disciples dared go out. They were locked in, frightened, confused. The one who had promised life was dead. That voice that calmed storms now fell silent beneath the stone of a tomb. The Messiah had bled. The Son had died. They didn't understand that this silence was only the interval between two eternities. While the light was still struggling to emerge, some women walked to the tomb. Mary Magdalene, Salome, Mary, mother of James. They carried oils, perfumes, intentions. They still didn't understand what had happened. They only knew that they needed to care for that body, his body. On the way, a question. Who will roll away the stone from the entrance? It was too big for them. But when they arrived, surprise froze them. The stone had already been rolled away. The tomb was open. They approached, their hearts racing. They looked inside. Nothing. No body. No stained sheets. No blood. No death. Just light. And a voice. It wasn't a scream, but it wasn't common either. "Why do you seek the living among the dead?" The women fell to their knees. It was an angel, a messenger, an echo from heaven breaking the mourning of the earth. "He is not here. He is risen, as he said. Go, tell the disciples." Mary Magdalene ran. Her tears dried with the wind. Her heart pounded. Her mind was reeling. How could she explain what she had just seen? She reached Peter and John. She screamed, gasping, "They have taken the Lord. The tomb is empty." They ran. John arrived first. He stopped at the entrance. Peter arrived later and entered. Sheets folded, the face cloth carefully separated. There was no rush. There was no theft. There was purpose. John went in afterward. He looked and believed. But there was still fear. They returned. They didn't fully understand. The main piece of the puzzle was still missing, Jesus himself. Mary Magdalene stood, still, weeping, confused, desperate. She looked back into the tomb. 2 angels stood there, one where the head had been, the other where the feet had been. "Woman, why are you weeping? They have taken my Lord, and I don't know where they have laid him." She turned and saw someone. She thought it was the gardener. "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" "Lord, if you have taken him away from here, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him." Then he said only one word, "Mary." She stopped. The voice, that voice, the name spoken like no one else had said it. She fell to her knees. Rabboni, which means teacher. She wanted to touch him, she wanted to embrace him, but he said, "Do not hold me. Go to my brothers and tell them, I ascend to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary ran again, but this time not with news of death. She was the first preacher of the resurrection. That night the disciples were still locked up, and then, without warning, he appeared. In their midst, suddenly, no sound of a door, no footsteps on the floor, just there, alive. "Peace be with you." They fell silent. The air vanished. Doubt screamed, "Was it him? Look at my hands and my side." And he showed the wounds, not as scars, but as trophies. They touched him. He smiled. He breathed on them. Receive the Holy Spirit. Thomas wasn't there. When the others told him, he doubted. He wanted proof. He wanted to see. He wanted to touch. A week later, Jesus appeared again. "Thomas, come here. Touch. See. Don't be unbelieving, but believing." Thomas fell to his knees. "My Lord and my God." Jesus looked at him tenderly. "You believed because you saw. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believed." Jesus stayed with them for 40 days. He appeared on the road to Emmaus. He broke bread. He dispelled their fear. He explained the scriptures. He walked. He ate broiled fish. He laughed. They taught again. But now they knew he had conquered death. It wasn't a legend. It wasn't a dream. It was reality. And then, in Bethany, on a mountain at dusk, he raised his hands, blessed his disciples, and began to ascend. He ascended. Heaven received him. A cloud hid him. 2 angels said, "Why are you looking up at the sky? This Jesus will return, just as you saw him ascend." They came down from that hill, different. Before, they were afraid. Now they were on fire. Before, they hid. Now they proclaimed. Because the cross wasn't the end. Because the tomb couldn't hold. Because he lives. And everything changed.